On today's Minute of the Apes, 407 bananas ago, Tim Burton brought forth upon these podcasters a new movie conceived out of the toilet and dedicated to the proposition that all apes are created equal.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. That was Richard reading us a little bit of ape history. And over to the side, Sean and I were giggling like children as JJ and Richard were talking about different workout type things and
terms,
and they made us go to childlike type
their
things.
snatches and their clean and jerks. And
The Olympic weightlifting, right,
Okay.
which is this international sport,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
CrossFit adapts some of those movements as well, and the two movements are called the snatch and the clean, and the clean and jerk overhead. And it's your first like couple of weeks of CrossFit, you giggle at it, and at some point it just becomes the terminology. It's the lingo. It doesn't. I don't even think about it anymore.
But
The
just
problem-
trying to jerk it over my head.
Well, and the problem too was that you both kept doing it, and it was like there would be little moments, almost like that's what she said, kind of things. And Sean and I were just like children over here, and it was like you got to quit.
giggling.
You got to quit. It was so much fun.
Grow up.
Why? I will never do that. I will always giggle at
I'm
shit
never
like
gonna
that.
grow up, and when I look at you, I want to throw up.
Oh my god, it is the child episode.
Glad we're into this movie.
This film has gotten us to acting like children.
Yeah.
We are at the last minute of action in this film. Do we think the mysteries will be solved? Do we think new things will be introduced? I don't know. Sean, tell us
don't
what's
give a
going
shit.
on
All
with
right.
minute 113.
All right, we're going to start minute 113 with Davidson staring in disbelief and ends with second assistant director Mike Rebenkoff.
All right, here it comes. Minute 113 of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
As of minute 113, we have an Oberon's worth of apes and humans, 2 displaced pods worth of humans and apes, so many wild humans and apes sitting minus 2 gorillas, and a peace among humans and apes.
Okay, so here we go. Visually, we begin again on the quote behind Thade's statue, Leo looking on in disbelief as he starts to hear incoming police sirens. We see cars that look exactly like the cars that we have. We see motorcycles. Then we finally get the 100% face-on reveal of a gorilla as they get out of the car and draw a weapon. They are dressed in a policeman's uniform, though it is very evocative of almost like a Village Person dress up type thing where it's overly leathered.
It is.
Daddy
The
like leather.
costumes are very. We'll keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, so then we see the reverse. All the apes begin to run in. Another motorcycle cop with a helmet comes. They're all pulling guns. Fire and emergency vehicles show up. Leo comes out looking bewildered as just a sea of fucking apes come in. And then halfway through it, we finally see some of the tourists in the area who have apparently come on to start taking pictures of a human. Because with the kid, hey, by the way, for those of you who are not young, are not old enough to understand what a camera is,
They know what a camera is.
At 33 seconds,
They don't
that
know
is
what
a
camera only is.
a personal camera. The little ape comes up and takes a little personal shot because this is a human. And Leo looking about as everyone rushes in. Now, again, security, we're fine. They've invaded airspace, whatnot. But then we have 3 helicopters come around, and they're sweeping their lights about as though they're looking for something.
More people, yeah.
Though we know that we found them. And then we fade to black, and we get our credits, which are, we get our unit production manager, Ross Fanger, first assistant director, God, Catterly Frolander. That's a name.
Frolander.
And second assistant director, Matt Rebenkoff. Okay, so let's go back to Leo looks about, and really the main thing that changes here is when we turn to the sound of the sirens and all the police vehicles begin to come in.
What hasn't changed is that he hasn't closed his mouth once in this entire
He was
movie.
breathing really heavy, yeah.
And we did not mention in the previous minute
he was
his
breathing
acting
heavy,
was...
yeah. The breath acting, yeah.
I think the only time he closed his mouth when he was in the spaceship and he was doing fart faces.
Yeah, completely. So, okay. Why does it bother me so much that the police
Everybody
cars
comes
and the
from
vehicles?
everywhere.
Not
Why
even
is it
that.
not the military?
But why does it?
Well,
everything look exactly the same? And it bothers me that it does. It has not changed anything about this. But then again, Thade's statue is exactly the same. I don't know why it bothers me, but it bugs the shit out of me.
I don't have a problem with not the military responding first, because the police would be probably the first, because they're
Capitol
local.
Police, yeah.
Because they're local, and they would already be in, out doing a patrol or whatever. So you're going to get there instead of scrambling, because this is taking them less than 60 seconds to show up after he's crashed. If we're going by real time now, who knows how they've compressed the time, how long he was staring there, ape agape, staring at Thade. But the fact that it goes from him crashing, where it is silent and nobody's around there, to tourists are showing up and
That's
taking
a huge
pictures.
problem.
That was weird.
Yeah.
That was super weird.
They
Why
show
didn't
just
we
as
see
fast as the
people getting out of the way whenever it hit? You see them scampering away.
You just see silhouetted figure. You see them from behind.
Right.
Maybe you make it rainy so they have umbrellas out and you can't see them, and they have
That'd be good.
jackets on and
That'd be
stuff.
good.
Or somebody suddenly, police are putting up a caution line, and people are starting to flock pouring from the sides from that. A caution line, would at least give me a sense that there's a reason for people to kind of gather and stand behind. I don't know.
But as much as I do not like this ending, this is a movie I ultimately wanted to see, where it was apes on Earth
I agree.
as humans, but we're the...
Isn't that the weird thing that they're actually
want the
touching on
savage.
Pierre Bull's original idea
At the
of,
very end here.
Yeah, they finally get to
good
it where it's
point.
like, hey, we're in a modern society
with apes in
with
charge.
them taking on exactly the affectations and whatnot that we have. That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I wish we had seen that movie across the board.
Yes, this is a movie I would have rather seen, but they've set this up so poorly. I don't know how they would have executed it in the next movie of justifying it.
Okay, and then so where I got into that, it felt like the Village People dressing up. When he has that, I think what it ultimately is it's really weird to see a police hat on a gorilla.
Well,
When I'm
it's also-
looking at that photo,
Possibly what it is, but I mean, everybody, they were going really out of the way to have everybody in their uniforms.
and it's also like the most non-distressed looking uniform. It's
very new. It's off the rack. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just too clean. It doesn't look real.
They all look very costumey.
Yeah.
They don't look like they look like worn. They don't look used. They look like rental cops. Like I just got this at the costume store. I'm not even sure if these are the outfits of that era. I'd be fascinated to go back and look at another police movies from 2000 just to see if the outfitting is the same.
Yeah, I mean, like even their hats are very leathery.
That's what I was. That's the exact shot.
It feels like some BSDM.
I want to propose
BDSM,
something to both of you, because we've both said this. We've all said that this should have been the film. Imagine that when Leo goes chasing Pericles and he crashes. If this was the first of the film,
Yeah, if this is where
if this is the first, and he goes and we see Thade on the Lincoln Memorial, we're like, what the fuck? That's an interesting idea. Start here and tell me that story, and tell me how society maybe hasn't changed and they still have the problems that we have. And that could be what you're talking about.
But Tim Burton loves otherworldly sets and locations and things like that. This would not evoke that for him. He would really want to go to another planet.
Fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, he'd want to go to the
wants a
Batcave. He'd
heightened
want something
reality,
crazy
yeah.
like that. Yeah. So
But see,
while
but
this
then-
is
but then-
I would like to see this movie. That's not what Tim.
Oh, no.
But I could say he could then have stretched it out because you say that they've always maybe been the stewards of Earth and the humans have been the lower species. So you have a Washington, D.C., but you have it where it's a little bit more apey, where you see people, there are like facilities to climb on top of the outside the buildings and stuff like that. You have a more vertical thing where people aren't just using elevators or stairs to get around. They're using ropes and stuff. So you make it a little apey, but you also have it modern.
Yeah.
You show how that it's still us, but they've accommodated it for themselves a little bit because everybody's walking around barefoot. So they always make sure the streets are always clean, so nobody's cutting themselves, stuff like that.
So is that supposed to be a kid with a camera? Is that what
Yes.
that's supposed to be?
And that's his mom behind him.
Who just awkwardly.
Yeah, well, it's funny
she
you got
walks
to
up
that
behind
same
the car
point
like
because
that,
at 32 seconds, she's wearing like a longer kind of
Brown,
puffy overcoat.
Yeah.
And she has like almost what looks like my mother-in-law's haircut.
Right.
That bob.
Yeah, that looks like an old woman. And plus, they gave her a little bit of a goatee type look. It almost looks like she has a beard. I can't tell why her snout is so white. But Aries wasn't that way.
Well, because they gave her a little bit of sideburns, and they were trying to keep her very feminine.
Maybe
this woman's in the background.
But as she approaches, she's got her hands like almost like
jazz
hello,
hands.
my baby, hello, my
Yeah,
darling.
she looks really unusual, and the hair stands out. All the coats and jackets stand out. Like I guess it's cold there. Like I would not have gone with that kind of take. You've already got these really costumed police officers.
Right.
I would put them in something that's a little more natural and not necessarily wearing jackets at nighttime because it's cold or rainy. Like I needed something weird. And he's got the dad has a suit on with a newspaper in his hand. It looks very contrived. Like
Beyond.
It doesn't.
Well, hey, at least they're saying that we can have cross species marriages too, because she looks very chimp-like and the dad looks very gorilla-like.
I didn't think the kids' makeup was all that great.
No,
I thought
I
it was a
didn't
little.
so
I thought it was for all the fantastic work they did with Atar and Thade early on. The kid's mask looks like a mask.
Well,
Looks like
it's also you can see his interior lip. It's
Very
like
wet,
They didn't paint it. It's very pinked.
Yeah.
maybe they didn't mean to do a tide on the kid. I don't know.
They didn't do enough lipstick.
No.
Basically to go.
And I'm also going to look. I hate having to go here, but it almost comes off like blackface to me. You know, it's like
A little bit, yeah.
It just it's bad. They should have looked at that and thought, "Ooh, this is a little bit too."
They've overly dressed these characters to conceal potentially bad makeup. I don't know, costuming jobs. The thing that I was probably disappointed because as they begin to swoop in, kids take a camera. Our closing shot is
it's just him standing
pointless.
there.
I thought that too.
With
I
him
thought your closing shot should be Leo or something like that, where he is feeling like the world closing in on him, and instead we get this. Hey,
he's supposed to say no, no, no. Right, that's in the script.
And
he goes no, no,
great.
and he should have said that. Instead, it's just like those very long moments we'd have with the characters earlier, where there should have dialogue and they just stand there and say nothing.
Right.
I mean, because
Dana had that constantly, where it's just like, okay, give her some lines right here.
Right.
Leo frequently needed lines.
Right.
Same thing. At least let him get his no, 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 not just like.
if they had like little voiceovers, because you hear them like, "Put your hands up," and stop. If you had heard like, "We got a wild human," or
Oh, yeah.
just like little things to tell you that this is not that he's Crash is a good thing, but that a human is a bad thing.
or call him an alien. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why they're all looking like, "Who the fuck and what the fuck is that?" Maybe
got a
they came
hairless
back and
ape or
killed all
something.
the humans.
Just getting to the shot from behind with him being surrounded, his hands starting to go up is just weak.
Anticlimactic. Yeah.
Weak. I needed him to say no, no, no. I needed one of them to come up and handcuff him. I need to see
Right.
him get pushed in the car and say, "What is going on?" Something more.
Or as it fades to black, if you start hearing gunfire or something like that, just
Oh,
something
please,
to
please kill Leo. Please.
That's kind of what I was hoping.
But something just it's really the your concluding moment is just the world is weird.
I don't find myself. This is construed to be a sequel tease. I don't find myself wanting to see this film. There's nothing about it that makes me go, "Oh my God, is he going to get free? Oh my God, what's going on?" I know what's going on. This is a cash grab. This is tacked on so that you're hoping that I will come back, and it's pretty obvious. And we'll talk about this. I have some notes on it, but audiences didn't want to see a sequel. They didn't care enough.
There's multiple reasons why they didn't care enough, right? It's the fact that he's an unmotivating lead, right? They didn't give him any dialogue. They didn't go into anything interesting politically to kind of hook you.
Sure.
They didn't commit to anything in general. The ending makes no sense whatsoever. They leave without any tension. He's just there.
Yeah, there are no stakes that he's left. Everybody's happy.
They've dropped all the characters off. I mean, at least in Alien, they took Newt with them. Even if they did kill her at some point. All the characters have been left behind. Pericles is left behind.
Marky Mark can evoke that feeling of street tough guy. I could have bought him as a pilot that is street tough, that had all these things. And maybe throughout, if they had done a little bit more with him, where it was like, he's unchangeable. He's just always cocky and sure. And maybe at this point, he finally is knocked down a peg, and he drop him to his knees like, no. Something like that. That
would have been,
and you've changed him just that much.
Having him fall to his knees in and of itself would at least be more interesting.
He finally gave up.
Then, yeah, exactly.
The movie's over.
I sigh because it's like, did these people not sit down in a writer's room and talk this through?
Well, the writer's strike, remember?
I know, and maybe that's it. Maybe they just didn't get people together and talk through these final things. Like, wouldn't it be better if we did XYZ?
I mean, literally, this ending is something that they were at the bar the night before and wrote on a napkin.
It does feel that way.
Yeah, he gets.
We need this shot. Okay, let's get the shot. Maybe we'll fix it in editing.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the credits, and so we've got 7 minutes of credits.
7 minutes of credits.
Okay, 7, and we'll. May I propose something real quick about the credits? Just because it's not the most thrilling thing. You're just listening to music. I'm going to kind of narrate over those as we see people's names and whatnot. And we can do that just so it keeps going. Okay. If that's okay. Cool.
So this is Wednesday. On Saturday, it will be.
This is Wednesday. Yeah.
This is Wednesday. It will be Free Comic Book Day on Saturday. So if it's not too late to make your plans to come out to Zeus
let me ask a question. Do you know of a comic book store where you could get a free comic book?
Hey.
I know a store where you can get the brand new Planet of the Apes #1 comic book.
Well, where would that be, Richard?
That would be at Zeus Comics in Dallas, 1334 Inwood Road, or on ZeusComics.com online. But Saturday is Free Comic Book Day. It is a national event that's been going on since about 2001. We participate in it every year. We're one of the largest. We have one of the largest events in DFW area. We give out several thousand free comics starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday. They go quick, so if you're going to come down, come on down. Our friends at Common Ground Games are also having their anniversary sale that weekend. It'll be pretty crazy. We'll also be doing our own massive quarter comic book sale. Comics for just a quarter, box after box after box of comics. So if you are in the DFW area or you want to travel, come on down to Zeus Comics on Saturday at 10 a.m.
ZeusComics.com, and the address one more time?
1334 Inwood Road.
There you go. You never have a question where you can find comics with Zeus Comics. Man, I just did a radio spot. Bam! All right. That is it for today. We'll be back with just nothing but credits for the next 7 days. Yes. Man, that's going to be exciting. So, for Richard and Sean, I am Todd. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.